M-Rock.
Welcome on M-Rock at the Chiemsee Summer Festival, and I have a very special guest here, Fletcher from the legendary Pennywise. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Okay.
Legendary.
Yes, legendary.
Yeah.
How do you like this festival so far?
So far, we've only been here for a couple hours. We just drove in, so it's loud. The subs are loud right by the bus. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
To tell you the truth, I haven't seen one band. I missed NoFX already. We drove in. We played with NoFX a couple of nights ago in Poland. Still hungover from that one, and so hopefully we're going to have a good crowd. It's cooling down, and hopefully we'll be able to make some people dance and have a good time. So far, so good.
Your present album, called Yesterdays, is a very special album because it consists of old songs, some of them written by your former bass player, Jason. Is it a kind of coping with the past for you?
Yeah, I think it was. It had a couple good reasons behind it. Jim was gone for a couple years. He left, and we'd been doing this for 20 years or something, and when you're in a band for 20 years with the same guys and the same bus and the same hotel and backstage room, and stuff can get crazy. You have a lot of tensions, a lot of personalities, a lot of drinking going on, partying, craziness. So Jim took a break, and when he came back, we started talking about. When he came back, it was awesome because it was right away like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is our lineup. This is like, the first band practice, you just start smiling when you hear him sing, And so we started playing shows, and then it was time to maybe think about an album, and we started with that. And it was always hard in the studio for Pennywise because at the same time it's really fun creating a record.
Yeah.
Everybody has an opinion about every single thing. The guitar tone, the vocals, the snare drum, like the color of the record cover. So it's nobody just sits back and says, hey, go ahead, do what you want. Like, everyone's like, no, we should do this. So it's a lot of arguing and a lot of passion going into it, and which is a good thing. Like, that's what makes the album have tension. For Pennywise, that chemistry is what makes Pennywise sound like Pennywise.
Yeah.
We're kind of like always right on the edge. Like, we're always pushing, and it's almost like a train about to go off the tracks, and that's where it comes from. So talking about going in the studio was not sounding like a fun idea, with Jim just back, and we were having fun, and we started getting on the topic of like, well, we could do all these outtakes that no one's ever heard except our friends in the backyard parties, and also pay tribute to Jason at the same time, and we didn't have to argue about how the songs went because they were already written.
Yeah.
So we agreed this is a good idea. Like, we agreed at lunchtime, and we said, okay, let's get in the studio now. So then we started booking dates and relearning the songs, and that was really cool because a lot of the songs actually had demo tapes with Jason singing on them. And so we were able to go back and listen to that, and it was crazy. They were such bad recordings. They were literally like a backyard party or like a nightclub we played where someone recorded, or a band practice, or a videotape. The quality was horrible. So figured out those songs, and then it was like, I remember this one. This was cool. And went in there and recorded it, and it was really, really awesome to let the whole world hear those songs that have been sitting in nowhere land for 20 years.
Okay.
My favorite song on Yesterdays is I Can Remember, which Jim wrote about Jason dying, and it didn't make it on Full Circle, which was the first album we did after Jason died.
Yeah.
And that song's got a really heavy emotion. It's one of my favorite Pennywise songs of all time.
So, in your opinion, how did the punk rock scene change over the last 25 years in the music, or did it actually change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
I saw something funny on like Facebook today. It said like punk rock 25 years ago, and it was a bunch of punkers like on the street in like England drinking beer. And then it said today, and it was like a festival with a huge stage. It said Punk Rock Fest, and all these normal people standing in the audience watching. So, I mean, my theory is everything that's cool gets ruined. You know, whether it's skateboarding or rap music or punk rock or choppers, you know, motorcycles, like, you know, like all the stuff that's kind of outlaw or like not cool. Like when in the 80s, punk rock was not fucking cool, man. Nobody liked it except the guys in the scene. Your parents didn't like it, the teachers, the popular kids at school, the cops. Everyone hated punk rock. If you were a punk rock, you were a loser. But when you were part of this punk rock scene, you felt like a family, you know, and you had something to say, and you had a message, and no one really understood it. And the message was, fuck you. I'm not going to be normal. I don't want to play on the football team. I don't want to play popular music. I don't want to look like you. I don't want to wear the shirt and the shoes that everybody's buying at school because they want to fit in. We don't want to be a robot. Fuck you. So, you know, that was the whole idea of punk rock. And then, you know, eventually, as time goes on, somebody figures out we can make money. A band like Green Day signs to a major label and they sell, you know, 20 million records, followed by like Offspring and Rancid sold, you know, did well. And then it becomes like, oh, it's cool. So a guy that really didn't get into punk rock for the right reasons of like trying to be an individual and be different and like a rebel, as stupid as that sounds, like now it's like you hear it on the radio and you go to the shop at the mall and they have a spiked bracelet and a Misfit shirt and a fucking green hair dye, and you had a lot of people jump on board that weren't really punk rock. They liked the music. Okay, Green Day wrote a great album. Offspring wrote a great album. Like, they liked the music, but they weren't really there to make a statement. They were just following a trend now. So I think like it had its peak with those bands, and now it's leveling back down, and now you're seeing more real bands, not so popular. No one's selling 10 million records anymore. And if you're into punk rock now, you're kind of into it for the right reasons again, and not trying to be rich and famous like a lot of these bands did, like, you know, Good Charlotte and Newfound Glory, and everybody was doing all this shit. And even if their music was good, they were still doing things to like become popular. We tried to never do that, you know. We didn't really want to make a cool guy video or have songs on the radio. I mean, eventually our songs got on the radio, but it was like Fuck Authority that got on radio or something, or Alien.
So can I say the scene is like splitted in the mainstream punk rock bands and the real punk rock bands?
Yeah, I mean, you still see a cross, you know, of people. Like when you're a band like Offspring, who sold, you know, 20 million records, like those were good songs. They were on tour with Pennywise, opening for Pennywise. We were listening to that record in the van, and Brad thinks maybe this is gonna go on the radio. We said, fuck, it's not going on the radio. It's a fucking punk rock record. You're a punk band. And they said, yeah, I don't know. Bam, it went on the radio. Keep It Separated. It blew up. Those songs were undeniable good songs, and they were punk songs. They weren't trying to be commercial. They weren't trying to be on the radio. They just wrote a good album. Those people that got into that are still into it. You can't get away from those songs. So we just did shows with them in Italy and opening for them, and the crowd, we are out there, the crowd goes crazy for Pennywise, awesome, and they come out, and then Offspring plays and they go crazier for Offspring. You know, it's like there's still a crossover of people that will come to a Pennywise show that maybe aren't hardcore punkers, you know. But you had a whole thing of the skate and the motocross and the snowboarding industry and the surf industry. All those people started listening to punk rock. So there's a lot of kind of normal guys that are skaters, you know, or surfers that aren't like, fuck the world punk rockers, I'm going to get tattooed and, you know, get a mohawk. They just like the music and the style. So, you know, there's a crossover of people that are hardcore rebels and then just normal people that like the music. So it's pretty good now, you know. I think the scene's back to normal in a way.
Okay. So you are on tour now for 28 years. Are there any strange or funny stories about your life on tour? Or that you can...
Thousands.
Tell?
I think you just, you know, you go with the flow. I mean, we've had so many stories. I mean, that night, me and our bass player and Jim, we were down here drinking. We drank all the vodka, drank all the Jameson, and we were just slapping each other the whole night. Shut up, Pam! Just like a comedy skit, and over and over, just drunk like till 8 a.m. Like, you know, we look at ourselves. Randy is all bruised up on the face. My stomach hurts, punching me in the face, like stupid shit. But like, we're still having fun doing that. You know, it's pretty immature. It's like 15-year-old shit. You know, right while you're talking, and you slap him. Say it again. Don't slap me again. Okay. Then give him one more. So, I don't know. I mean, we've had so many crazy stories. I mean, they couldn't even begin to tell you the stories that have happened. I always think about one story because it's kind of funny. Is we got drunk. We loaded up the van in Belgium, and all the equipment goes in the back, and then we were sitting in the front, sleeping quarters.
Yeah.
And we were cranking the music like Black Flag, beating the walls, singing. Went to the house where we're gonna sleep at, you know, and we're eating soup and drinking more beer, and some cars start pulling up, honking. Hello? Hey. And pulled out a guitar. Is this yours? I'm like, that's my guitar. And more cars coming. Drums, guitars, bags, like clothing bags, amps. Like, we got on the freeway and on the Autobahn, and all the shit fell out the back. The door didn't get closed, so all of our equipment fell on the streets. And the fans were driving home, and they saw this happening, so they picked up the gear. Different fans, they picked up stuff on the Autobahn, and then they found out where we were staying, and they came to the house, and they brought us back everything. It was pretty funny.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah. The only thing that was missing was a video camera, and in the video camera box had 3,000 Deutschmarks, because that was all of our merchandise money was going in the video box. So somebody was like, I'm going to take this one. And they left. I don't think it was a fan. I don't think it was a Pennywise fan. Yeah. But the videos for that show that were on that video camera, they surfaced later. Like, they are on YouTube now. You could see somebody got that camera and they put it up on YouTube, the shit. But I mean, we've had so many crazy nights over the last 28 years. And I mean, the lights are still crazy. The other night was totally crazy. As crazy as any other night of partying on this bus. Blood and fights and hugs and loud music. It's good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Fletcher, for this interview. Hope to see you again in Germany someday.
Of course.
And have a great show tonight.
Thank you.
This was Fletcher from Pennywise on M-Rock.
M-Rock.